Okay, so my Indigenous Peoples project will be on the Oromo people of Ethiopia. So first of all, just a little bit of background of the Oromo people. They make up about 35% of the total population of 101 million in Ethiopia. And then within Minnesota, their estimated population is between 15,000 to 40,000. This kind of wide range is due to the census saying a lower number and then the actual people saying that there's more of them here. So the Oromo people, similar to Native Americans, have a lot of smaller subgroups spread throughout the country and then also the world. And due to this, they have many different customs and traditions that change throughout. But their two main religions are Orthodox Christian and Islam. So recently, education has called for a greater demand to move away from Eurocentric views that dominated Africa during colonial times, and there's a want to return them to indigenous knowledge and traditions. However, due to the impact of colonialism, these indigenous ways tend to be seen as inferior, and the colonialist views of culture, knowledge, and language still tend to dominate. Also, enrollment levels traditionally in Ethiopia have been one of the lowest within sub-Saharan Africa. However, since 1996, elementary school student enrollment grew from less than 3 million to over 18 million, with it now being at an almost universal level. This is mostly due to the increase in government expenditure, which can be seen on the graph on the right, where education spend is shown as a percentage of overall government expenditure compared to other sub-Saharan countries. So impact in America. Oromo people living in Minnesota feel as if there is a divide between the youth and the elders. And a quote from a Minnesotan Oromo explains that he says, many Oromo youth aren't learning their home language or their culture, and many older Oromo people can't speak English. He believes that a solution to this would be that a center where they could host cultural events and provide language and job training classes would help repair that rift and bring youth and elders closer together. There is also a strong sense of Oromos being forgotten. So another Minnesotan Oromo explains that in schools, hospitals, everywhere we go, they define us as just Somali rather than Oromo, and that although they're the second largest immigration population from Africa within Minnesota, people still don't recognize them. So there's definitely a case of them feeling as second class and not as valued as they feel they should be. So then on this next slide, I have a lot of own voices from a website called Green Card Voices. I'm just going to go through each one of these people and just kind of talk about their background. So Yomiyu on the top left explains how when she originally came over here, she spoke very little English and was often bullied in public when she first arrived. She then attended Leap High School, which is a school for English language learners and newly arrived immigrants. And she explains how this school helped her hugely to obviously learn the language and then feel more welcome, which has resulted in her becoming involved in a lot more youth leadership programs and then being involved in the community. Then in the bottom left, we have Ikram, who again first arrived and was struck by the vast differences in culture and language. She attended Wellstone International High School. Similar to LEAP, it focuses on English language learners and newly arrived immigrants. But this school also partners with a lot of local colleges to promote higher education, help students, ELL students continue their education into higher education. And then in the top right, we have Mikias, who came over here at a very young age and describes how he needed to adjust to life in America a lot. Especially, he found the hardest thing was the language difference and how very simple, mundane activities turned into difficult tasks, even things like saying his name to people. So, but he did graduate high school and then attended the University of Minnesota and then founded his own soccer foundation and coaches and tutors. So these examples will show like how there is still success with Oromo immigrants, and that their education in Minnesota definitely values them and sees them as important parts of our society. And then here are my sources.